And in a way, it goes even deeper than lifestyle. The most debilitating thing for depressed people, and why so many of them do kill themselves, is because meaning drains away from them. There's no meaning in their life. And if we have a culture where the main meaning seems to be just hedonistic, entertaining yourself, and consumerism, there's no real rich meaning in that. None whatsoever.
You see, for the human creature, they are aware of the most frightening fact that a living organism can ever learn, and that is the certainty of their own death. We are all going to die. Not only that, but the older we get, the bodily machine starts to wear out. It doesn't work as effectively. Not only that, but once you are aware of our mortality, you also inevitably become aware of the fact that life is unfair and unjust, and bad things happen to good people. And we require to be very resourceful in order to cope with the injustice, the unfairness, and the very mortality of life itself. And what enables us to cope with this is something that's called meaning. Now, there are 3 ways we can get meaning into our lives, and unless a person has at least one of these sources of meaning, they cannot stay out of depression. The first way to get meaning into our lives is to have friends, or at least people in our life who need us. You'll get up to feed your kids. You'll go to work because you're part of a project and you don't want to let your colleagues down, or you don't want to let your patients down. So you'll do it for other people if they're dependent on you. So having people who need us keeps us going and involved in life.
Which is really service.
Which is a type of service, of course it is. The second way to get meaning into our lives is to have activities which challenge and stretch us. That keeps our mind off the worry circuit, focused outwards in active problem solving. And whether we're 2 years old or 92 years old, we need to have challenges, activities every day which stretch and challenge us. That's a powerful source of meaning. And of course, the third way people can get meaning into their lives is to make a commitment to something greater than ourselves, something that takes us beyond our own immediate survival needs. This might be a commitment to raising education standards. It could be a commitment to politics, a commitment to some form of community service, a commitment to a local sporting team. But that type of commitment has been shown to make people strong in the face of adversity. And here's how it works, because things that work, Ivan, have a demonstrable effect upon people's lives. There's a mechanism behind it, so to speak. Bad things can happen to anybody. Life is inherently unpredictable. And if our personal life takes a major setback because of ill health, because of a lost work opportunity, we might lose our job or lose our home, our loved one might die, or a child might get ill and die. Terrible things happen to people. And when our emotional life takes a severe hammering, if we have this other source of meaning, we draw strength from it whilst we rebuild our private life. So in a way, this is a form of enlightened self-interest. And there is no doubt that people who redesign their lifestyle to put in as many sources of these meanings as possible handle adversity and recover from depression much more rapidly. Another way we can get this type of meaning into our lives is to have some coherent understanding or philosophy of life that makes sense not only of the mortality of life, but the unfairness and the apparent injustice of life. Traditionally, this would have been done through a religious practice, and psychological research shows that people who have an active religious practice, on average, have better mental health and faster recovery rates from things like clinical depression. But there are other ways to get this type of meaning into our lives, because people's lives today, at least in Europe, are increasingly secular. But a spiritual orientation towards life will also provide a very effective source of meaning. And by a spiritual orientation, we mean that the person is on a quest to find out what is the purpose of life, what is the truth, what is the meaning of consciousness, what is life about. And that quest for a greater understanding makes people psychologically robust. And of course, the greatest minds who have ever lived, right from the ancient Greek philosophers to modern day scientists such as Einstein, or say the great Newton, or the greatest poets like W.B. Yeats, for example, or William Blake, they have always had this intuition that there was more meaning available, that our universe is inherently meaningful, that consciousness and meaning are a part of the universe, that we're not alone, we're part of a greater pattern, that what we do actually counts for life. It is important to the greater consciousness, our contribution to life, and that in turn we can draw strength from something greater than ourselves. And the quest for that strength and that quest for that connection is known as the spiritual journey, the spiritual seeking, and it gives people psychological strength.